Hey everybody, looks a little dark today. How's your view? Can you see everything okay? For some reason my camera always looks like it's shaded. See if we can get a little more light in there so we can have a better working area. That looks a little better. Still got a little shade, but we've moved the lights around a little bit to try to help us a bit. Let's see, we'll do one more. There we go. Maybe try to get that light right down in there so we can see better. Okay, so everybody has been seeing us work on this. We've got quite a bit of it done. We've got a lot of the different areas completed, but there is some spaces out here kind of on the end. And the way that we took care of the end on the other side is we did a big feather that was really a defining element. And what I thought I would do is I think I want to go ahead and put the feather on the other side to balance it, but rather than having it be linear, so let me show you on this side, it's kind of linear and it goes along this whole length, and it does have some little trails that kind of move around. We put the curl in here that fills in this corner, and it also has, this is a circle, a piece of a circle, so you get a little bit of this circle symmetry between some of the areas. You know, this is obviously some big circles, so we're taking that round element and we're putting that in. What I wanted to start with is, let me show you what we have going on this corner. So I started with the feather right here. Let's see if you can see it right here. And it's gonna come into this space. And originally, when I was designing it, I was thinking, oh, I'll make this one, you know, go across. This is the line. Well, then I was playing with it and I didn't like that. I think that what I'm gonna do here is this is going to fill this space and it kind of pushes this way. So I decided I was gonna put a little curl in here to connect this one over here. So this is one feather that we're gonna connect, and it'll have the break in it, just like we explained. And then for this one, instead of that being connected, I'm gonna separate those and make two different ones. So this one here is gonna come in, and I'm gonna sort of create this line right here so that these look like they're gonna connect, and this will curl. So then this curl will kind of match the one on the other side. It'll fill it in nice, and we'll have some room to work. Let's start with this one over here. I've put in a little bit of dotted lines. This will be the spine, and I'll be responsible, of course, for then filling it as a spine once I do it. I like to sew the feather, and then I'll travel back and connect the dots here, and then we'll fill this other side. And I think at this point, based on where the next one is, I think I'll probably cut it or, you know, come out and finish down here out in the margin and then just restart at this new position. This is a very clean line right here. And I think for me to travel around just in this space, I can do it, but I think it'll look cleaner if we just start over here and finish this one over here. So any questions so far as we're getting going? Thanks. I see Joyce is here. There's lots of different people. It's great seeing everybody who's participating. Anybody actually trying this and actually sewing on it? I'm really curious. So, okay, let's go ahead and we'll start. I want to show you these little dotted lines right here. What I've done with the dotted lines is I've given myself a visual boundary. If I didn't put something in, this feather could take up everything. I could literally stretch it so it fits all the way over to here and all the way over so that there's nothing in here. But what I want to do is put the feather in and create its own space. Then I'm going to echo it when we're finished, and then I'll have some small spaces that are separating these designs. And this is where I want to put the micro texturing in. So next week, we plan to do a little bit of microfill with some white thread to maybe emphasize some of the different areas and start putting a little bit of extra quilting that will punch down some areas. So this little dotted line is kind of a vague outline of where the feather will expand to. Sometimes I feel like I need that visual because just the way that I think, I need some limitations. I need some border visuals to kind of get me going. All right, let's get started. I'm right here on the edge, so I'm just going to tack this right here so it will stay. And then let's do a little smaller one here to kind of get us started. And then we'll stretch this one out. So we're going to use a lot of the same elements that we did before, where we have a little bit of a curve and then we have a little swirl. Maybe some leaves can go in there. We'll see. This is much bigger than the small space that we had before, so it's going to be important that we try and stretch our feathers and make them a little bit longer because it's kind of big. I don't need to make them all the same size. I can make some go over the top and some not. So we'll come back around. So right now we need to clean up our spine. Okay, so we can just come down slowly. We don't need to go super fast. And I'm aiming for the spine right here. See how there's a gap right there? So obviously here I can travel on the line, but once I get to the gap, I need a smooth connection between the two pieces. So I'm aiming out in front so that I can connect those dots right there and get down to the bottom. I think that's one of the things that will help everything make it really smooth as we come back around. If we don't look for that connection, it's going to get a little bit messier. And we can always come back and put some more thread in here if we wanted to. So this is a kind of a bigger area. So let me show you, here's a little idea sometimes if you don't want to put a really big feather in. You can just put a little one in, bring this one back, and stretch him out. Bring him back a little bit and stretch him out. And they can touch or not, it's up to you. Then when you're here, you can just get that one in there like that. So that just changes it up a little bit. This one's kind of empty, but that's okay. This quilt is getting heavy. We put a lot of thread on there. All right, so let's same thing. Let's go up a little bit, give ourselves some room. He is heavy. I have to adjust him a little bit. Okay, so let's come up. Try to come right back on the feather here before I put the next one in. And let's put something a little different. Just to change it up a little bit, we'll put a little leaf in there. And then we'll make this one curl up next to it. All right, so we're up almost to the boundary. So what's going to happen now, let me turn it a little bit so you can see it. Maybe we can put one in here if we make him really skinny and we can make him come up over the top a little bit. Let's go ahead and try for that. And then we'll put a smaller one in, a little filler. Right there, as if he were just going to come up. And then he'll come back in. So let's go ahead and we'll do that spine one more time. We'll just put a little bit more thread in there. And that'll help make sure everybody's even. Because we have some areas where we only have a single layer of thread. And that way, if there were any little areas that we missed, we can sort of close those out. We'll fill it in just a little bit more, make sure all those areas are closed. All right, let's cut it. So we're out in the boundary right there. So, and we can put that echo in. Oh, I didn't stretch him over here. Ha! Kind of got lost. But that's okay. Nobody will know, right? Let's see if we can turn him over. Oh, he's so cute. I know there's a lot of markings that always interfere with our vision, so this is what he looks like from the back without any markings. You see that? He looks so cute. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll put that curl in on the other side. So right now, this is just me drawing this out. So what I may do is use just a gentle curve that I have to follow some of this if I need to. I want to do this inner space first. See these boxes right here? They mean nothing. Pretend that they don't exist. I was kind of playing with what I might want in there, and I was trying to take the boxes from over here maybe and move them into that space, but I actually think the curl is going to work better. So we're just going to ignore all of that and just use this part of the feather right here. So I want to connect it to this seam as if he's just coming up out of that area from underneath. So I'll put a little tacking right here, make sure that we're secure. All right, and in this first one, I'm going to sort of put a half, like he came up, but he's underneath still a little bit. I'll make this one come over the top a little bit. And just fill that space in a little bit more. Let's see how we're doing. All right, my machine is talking to me again. Hate it when it does that. I can never tell what it's trying to tell me. Okay, here we go. So this long one's going to come back. And right now, let me show you what's going on. There's no more space right here. So we have to start making these guys short. And if they're going to curl around, this is again where that dotted line can be valuable. If we're having something in here, we can't just use up all the space. Like he can be kind of big, and then these are going to get smaller right here as we go around. Think about that, because this guy is now going to have to come in right here. So he can't use up all the space with the feather. I have to admit, this is one of the ones that I find like the most trickiest to get this curl in here. Because we have to start following that curvature. So when I go up on this next one, we'll do that little spiral. Make sure we keep our spiral in there. We'll do a little baby one right there. And then this one is going to come in and he's going to sort of fill in the rest of that. All right, so now we can fill in the spine. Let's come back around. We'll go a little bit slowly so we can try to track right on the stitch line and make it a little bit thicker. Ah, we did it. So one of the ways to do this is if you can print out a picture of some kind of curvature that you like, and you would trace these many, many times and maybe print them in a few different sizes. Because I do think this one is very difficult sometimes to get the right balance. You'll see I have a little bit of space here. I don't care. I could have made this come all the way in and touch, but this will give me some space here to dip in for the echo. I don't think I'll come all the way in. I'll probably just come into here and back out. But this is very tricky right here, I think, to judge the space sometimes. Or if you put a little circle in there and you make it go up to the circle, that's another way that you can balance this design. So again, let's go ahead and, since we don't want everything to be the same, let's put sort of a partial here of our little swirl. So we'll come over and we'll swirl it and we'll come back. We don't want our pattern to be too matchy-matchy, so let's do a couple of lobes here. So we don't have, you know, swirl, lobe, swirl, lobe. Let's make it a little bit irregular now. And let's make him kind of come over the top a little bit. And let's just put some kind of little leaf thing here. All right. Let's see. Somehow my leaf went the wrong direction. I'm just going to come over here and let's do this. He'll get us back on track. And again, we'll use that and we'll come back and put a little bit more thread on that spine. If there's anybody that needs to be connected, connecting the dots, we'll go ahead and do that. Oh, I went one stitch too far, darn it. Oh well, that happens. All right, let's get that, and then we'll see what we got. You know, I turn it over and I'm like, oh, please look good, please look good. Some people that I know that quilt, they just know everything's going to turn out perfect. Like they can see the whole quilt in their head before they even start. I can't. My design process is like a little of this, a little of that. Oh, I don't like that. Go this way. Okay, let's turn it over, see what we get. What do you think? Do you like it? Yeah, Susan, you're right. So funny. It's okay. We'll just originate. We just did something crazy. He was going, this made it go the wrong way. So it just changed this. I should have come back the other way on it. And oh well, whatever. We just changed it up. Oh, okay. I think it's still going to look fine. We'll just put some more quilting on top of it, right? We'll just echo it. Let's see. We have a question from Michigan. How big was the original size? The original size of this was about 30 by 30 when I started. And then I just put some different elements. I mean, the key was working with some rectangles or squares, and you can see that that element's repeated. So this, you know, square and then a frame, and then this is a square and a square. This was our first square right here, this big rectangle with these squares in it. And, you know, I'm looking at it now, and I wish I had done this frame all the way around it and had this come still from underneath. So, yeah, just say you meant to do it. We're in the education mode, though, so we can be honest in this class. You know, I like it. There are some things that I would do differently, right? I think this is a good learning process. And then when I looked at this afterwards, this frame, I really wanted it to go all the way around, and it doesn't. And like this comes over it into the space, but then this doesn't. And I wish I had made this circle come in right here and made this, you know, right here where this cut away, this design, so this design was on top. I think that would look cool. In fact, I've even considered ripping this out and making the circle come over with the frame. But you know, you can't know that sometimes until you do certain things. I think that that is part of why I like the process of this as a stage, as a step out. I don't want to tell you that I think that everything I do is perfect. I'm not the best quilter in the world. But I am a quilter that wants to get better, and I want to learn more, and I want to try things. And I think that is important, that if we can be a little bit fearless in areas where it's not that critical, doesn't matter, doesn't have to be so perfect, then we can free ourselves to learn those things on the things that aren't that important. And then when we want to do something on that precious heirloom, well, we already learned that lesson somewhere else. So that's really what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that that will give you guys just some freedom to experiment and play. And if I make a mistake or I do something that you don't like, that's okay. You can then say, oh yeah, that didn't work out so good. I didn't like that. I'm going to try it this way. And I'm fine with that. I really feel good if you feel like you get encouragement to try something different. So, all right, let's see. We were going to try to at least add one more thing, I think. So we did this one, which kind of curls right in there. And you can see I'm actually going to put a few more of these to fill in this space because I think this is really big, but I don't want to put another feather right in this area. And I've got to have something in here. I haven't figured it out. I think I'm going to just do a medallion that will have some curves that will make it rotate, and I'll create a little space in there, and then we'll actually maybe micro texture this piece. So this one over here, you can see this is really filled, and we do have those nice frames, which I like, but I want to have that little circle kind of be a center visual and not be so busy. So he'll be more like a, you know, spin effect style or something like that where he goes around. So we have the one more feather, and this one, I put this circle in right here. Let's scoot it over a little bit. Because what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put another round element on this side, because this one has the square rectangle right here and it has these squares right here that come all the way out. So I thought if I did this, it'll boundary the feather a little bit, and it'll also give just a little partial circle so we don't have the feather taking up everything. We have so much going on this side of the quilt that if we just make everything over here feather, then it looks to me out of balance. So I'm going to put that circle portion back in there to bring your eye over here to kind of minimize the feather a little bit and create a boundary. So this is just a half of a circle. This is a 4-inch half circle. And so this feather is not connected to this one right over here. This one is just all on its own. He's doing his own thing, but he's just going to end there. So he'll be like underneath something, and maybe he'll come out over on this side right here. So this one will come from behind here, curve around, and then just go off of the edge right there. Okay, so let's just do this one. And again, this is the boundary. And then if we don't want to fill this all the way, which I don't, but I am going to probably make the feather come right up to this boundary. So that will put a division between this fill area and this fill area, because inside of here, this will all be a closed space. So if I put one fill in this space, then automatically I could transition to a different one with a very easy break because the feather will be in between. So right here, as we come up, we'll just try to make a very small connection right here, but we'll close this space. And if we left it a little wider, we could use the echo to close it also. So like the echo can just come in and touch this if we want to have a little breathing room between the feather and the circle. Okay, let's start. So let's see. We said this one was not connected, right? So we could start it anywhere. What do you think? Do you want to make it go that way, or do you want to make it go that way? I'll let you guys decide. What do you think? This one, it could kind of look like it was coming from here, but that would kind of ruin our image over here, but I don't care. Whatever. We could just do it this way or the other way. Let me see what you're saying down there. You know what? Thank you, Susan Tapp. I'm going to take your appreciation. I'm just going to go with that. You know what? I think we all start somewhere. We all get better, and I make something that I could feel comfortable giving to somebody, and that's really what is important, right? That you can feel like you can make something pretty and somebody can enjoy it. So if you can do that, you're good to go. We aren't all Margaret Solomon Gund or some of those other people that are just ridiculously amazing. And I don't know how they do it. I just don't know. But, I can aspire someday, maybe. All right, let's tack it off. We'll go this way. So let's put a little starter, baby. We'll just make him float, because we can. And then we'll just pull out, make him go around. So right there is where I always have trouble. When I track back, a lot of times my little track backs don't match up. They look like this. When it comes back, they'll kind of go like this. And then, so there'll be a little gap. If that happens to you, just make your gap bigger. Make it on purpose. Make it really obvious so that people don't think you're trying to match it, or just echo it on top, make it bigger. If you exaggerate it, then they can't presume that you're trying to make things match, right? Because you know what you're doing, but they don't. So look into the spine, make sure I can see where I'm going, and I'm going to come up a little bit. And then let's put that swirl in there. Try to track back as best I can on this guy. Now, this is kind of linear, and this is curving out. See how he's curving? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come back a little bit on this guy right here, a few stitches. And we're going to make this guy kind of come over the top a little bit so we can reorient our feather a little bit. It's going to help us change directions a little better. Okay, there we go. Oh, he's getting heavy. I got to keep pulling him up onto my table. All right, let's go up a little bit. That'll give us a little bit of room just to... So it's getting a little bit tight here. As we said, we kind of want to tighten it up a little bit, make it a little smaller in that area. So we're going to start watching for that as we go. So that means I don't want to all of a sudden make a small one. I want to grade it in a little bit. Let's put a little spiral so we can get our little swirly back in there. That'll give us some room to travel right there by putting something different. All right, here we go. Let's come up a little bit. And I like to put this little curl right against that leaf. For some reason, I really like that. So let's see where we're at. There we go, we're doing it. So let's come back down here. This one definitely has a very long spine. So let's think about it in sections and try to make that section as smooth as we can. Then we won't have as many sort of transitions. So visually, I'm going to think about coming down like that. I want to try to fill in that space with stitching. So I'm looking right through the opening. I'm trying to connect all the dots and also connect the existing stitch line. Okay, I think that if I can segment it just a little bit and I don't think about the whole entire spine, that gives me a shorter leg and I can make my line a little bit controlled for a shorter distance. So maybe right here, let's go ahead and we'll just concentrate on connecting the dots right there. If I need to come in because my line comes in, I'm going to yield to the existing stitch line, not the purple line. Okay, this one curves a little bit, so if we can try to get down to where the curve ends, sort of right down here, this is kind of one little arc right here, so we want to try to make that as smooth as we can. So look out in front of you. Then we could stop. All right, and then let's clean this one up a little bit. He's kind of wonky, I think, so we'll kind of tuck him in a little bit to get into the existing curve. All right, there we go. I think that's better than having, 15 starts and stops right there. So I don't want this to go all the way out into this space, but I do have a big space right here. So why don't we just put like one little curl that kind of comes out into this space, and then we'll build a few feathers off of him, and then we'll go the other way. I'll show you what I mean. We'll just put a long curl in here. Ooh, trying to track back on there. And then let's just put a few lobes out this way along this, as if these were coming out. So I'll show you what I mean. We'll put a little opening right here. And then let's make these kind of come in this way. And then we'll just put one little swirly right in the middle. So we got to track back along that line to get us back. And then this guy, when we start coming over here, he can kind of come out this way and we'll go that way. So let's come up a little bit. And let's kind of mirror it. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we'll put it as like a little mirror. And now we can start building into that other spine. I think that'll help fill in that space a little better. Come up on the spine. Let's make this one go over a little bit. Over and under, I kind of like that it creates a little bit of change right there where he is coming a little bit in the middle of this one. That always makes him look like he comes over the top. All right, so now we're going to try to fill in towards that circle right there, because that was our boundary, right? So we're going to get a little closer to that area. Not so tight that we touch. We want to still leave a little room. We'll make this one a little smaller. And then when we put this next one in, let's make him kind of come over the top a little bit. So I don't know if you can see, but my hands are adjusting a little bit at a time. As we move into another area, I'm going to go ahead and shift. Oh, my foot pedal slipped out from under me. Oh, well, that just gave us all a little bit of a heart jolt, right? Fortunately, didn't hurt anything. We just keep sewing. And I'm just going to put a little swirl in there because we're kind of down to the end, so I want something in there. All right, and then that's it. I think I'll just tack it off right there. I think I'm warmed up. That felt much easier than the first one. It felt a lot smoother. I felt like I could move more comfortably. I do really recommend warming up. I feel like that does make a big difference in the quality of the design. All right, let me turn them over so you can see what I see. Oh, love it. I think that one worked out really good. Let's see if we can give you a little better view. We'll turn them this way. And then this just adds a little whimsy right here. What did you say? Something, oh, yours vanishes. Are you talking about the air erase? I don't know. I think it lasts longer here because I'm in the desert. It's very dry here. So mine actually will last a really long time. The other thing is if you end up marking with that air erase marker right here, if I were to fold this like this and cover that up, I could come back tomorrow and those lines that are underneath there would still be there, which I think is really cool. So that's just something that I've learned, or if you put your quilt in a plastic bag, which I don't usually do because I don't need to, but you know, I think that can definitely help it last a little longer. They do dry out. I don't feel like I have as much a problem here as I did when I lived in Washington, which is a much more humid environment. So anyway, then I'm going to put in my space right there with my ruler. And I'll go ahead and finish up the rest of the feathers, and then there'll be just some spaces left for us to put some of those fills in. So what I'm planning to do is the microfill, and if we want to texture, so let's see, this is our front. Let me go ahead over here. When I come in on this part, I'm just going to fill this in as much as I can, and I'll actually connect it right to that circle right there. So I will leave all of this right here just alone. I think this becomes really too tight. I'm not going to try to crowd anything right in there. So let's do that real quick. I got to stretch everybody out again. Okay, here we go. Oh, I hate those markings because I always get distracted by them. Okay, we'll just do a little echo just on that one side, kind of give the idea, and then we'll probably be done for today. So I will go ahead and try to finish up all of the different spaces and just put a little bit of other information. So when you're echoing, you're looking for the foot to come over and touch. And what's important is this little arc that we're making. It doesn't matter if it's closer, narrower, wider, whatever. What matters is that it's smooth. I think visually what's more important than it being a perfect match is that it is a smooth fit from each feather. So try to think of it as one feather at a time that you're putting this little arc in there. And then right there, that's as much as I want to go. I don't want to crowd this, so I'm just going to fill this in. And then here, I can travel if I'm confident. If not, I can tie off and I can just go to the other side, but we'll just come around until I have enough room. And I think right here, it'd be still a little bit tight for that. You might go just a very small echo right there and then come into it. Right there. it's going to be tricky. So I think I'll scoot over a little bit and try to tack that edge in a little bit. So each one, just think about that as the start-stop point. So I may have to move my circle down a little bit since I cut into him. That's okay, I can do that. He was a guide anyway. Each of those is the guide. Each of those little arcs is our guide. Oh my God, it's gonna make a little heart right there. Love it. So excited. Dip, come out, arc, arc. That's a little bigger arc. And here. Oh, I love it. And we'll just tack it in there. You want to see the little heart? It was so cute. I love it. I didn't plan that, but it turned out so good. All right, let's see where we're at. Where'd he go? Oh, right there. Love it. It's so cute. So he's got some wonky lines in there, but that's okay. We're going to just go with that, and I think he looks cute. So then we're planning to do white for the micro texturing. That means that, for example, if we just put a little fill in here, by closing this, we can put something in here that will set that apart. So that's what this whole echo would be, that there'll be no micro texturing there. So then the micro texturing can come right up to the boundary there. I don't know, we might have to put another echo on this side to keep that. We'll figure it out. Okay, well that's it for today. It's 10:40. I'm tired. It's time to go back to bed. All right, so let's see. I answered a couple questions. Hi, Sandy. I'm glad you came. We can go ahead and we'll put it up there so you can look at it later, okay? It sounds like people enjoyed that SpinFX class. I saw some awesome examples of people putting stuff out there. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Thank you, Betty, for all your support there. I meant to do that. Yeah, the empty space is important. So we are going to use that to really create that emphasis. So all the rest of the stuff that we're going to do, we have a lot of great visual things. And so this next part is going to be maybe just 3 different microfills. We're going to just concentrate on like a little arc, a wormy arc, and a little very small stipple, and I haven't decided on the last one, but I want those textures to be really low volume and low value because I want the eye to go to all the other things that we have done. I want that stuff to just push it down and emphasize what is the featured elements. So we'll be working on that next week, and really that's going to be it. That's even if we don't have every single thing quilted, we're going to basically say that's it for this, and I'm going to try to come up with some new ideas for our Free Motion Fridays. So maybe we'll do just some like channel sewing is kind of the thing I want to do next, maybe where we're doing intermittent stripes and patterning with empty spaces and fills. So, okay guys, have a wonderful day. Happy quilting. Bye. Thank you.